something that's relevant in regards to either marketing or just school leadership in general. At some meetings, we have speakers that we invite to share their expertise as well. So for those of you who are new, welcome. We hope to see you at future meetings. Feel free to spread the word as well. These are always free and open to all Montessori leaders and administrators. All right, so let's dive into it. What is content marketing? All right, so from a marketing perspective, or if you really want to put a definition on it, content marketing is the intentional creation and curation of content with the goal of both attracting new prospects and nurturing them into leads. So essentially, it's to kind of attract new visitors to your website and then to kind of push them along the admissions pipeline if you're a Montessorian. So let's go ahead and look at it into a Montessori perspective here. When thinking about content marketing specifically for Montessori schools, you want to aim to inform. So whether that's informing parents about your services, about Montessori in general, Montessori philosophy, Montessori parenting, all of that can drive the content. You want to provide value. I put in parentheses immediately because providing immediate value is important. Obviously, your school is going to provide long-term value if their child ends up attending your classes. That's going to be a lifetime value, but it's great to provide that immediate value. So whether it's answering a parenting problem through a blog immediately, providing some sort of valuable information that a parent may want to know immediately into their email inbox or on your website. That's why I really wanted to focus on that word immediately. It's really important. Another thing that you want to think about when it comes to content marketing in the Montessori space is support. Parents are making a really difficult decision when it comes to choosing their child's schooling or academic path. Really with content marketing, you want to aim to support them in that choice and to make it a little bit easier. That also comes with informing them. So it all kind of ties together beautifully. And also just to guide them through the process of what it's like at your school, what their programs are like, how to apply, what the admissions process is like. And also just to guide them in parenthood in general. All of these are important things to consider when you're thinking about your content marketing plan overall. Ultimately, the aim of content marketing, and this is in the Montessori space or any space, is you really want to focus on creating high quality content to attract those prospects and customers and convert them into engaged followers or parents in the case of a school who want to spread the word about your school, your services, and Montessori in general. So that's really what your aim here is. So let's take a look at some content marketing strategies or examples that you can use in your school to really attract those leads and nurture them throughout the admissions pipeline. All right, so first and foremost, we have program information. This is something that you would have on your website. I should hope so if you're a Montessori school. Website content is actually a huge part of your overall marketing strategy. The website content really has to be top-notch, really well-written, really purposeful. So I'm just going to go over some bullet points here as to what you really want to be keeping in mind when it comes to your program information online. First of all, is that program content should be digestible. I think it's really easy for us as Montessorians to understand Montessori language. We speak it every day. We use Montessori terminology daily, but to a set of fresh eyes, that might not be the same. So really make sure you're using the appropriate language for, fresh, new eyes in the world of Montessori, and digestible as well as, avoid big uninterrupted bodies of text. That's really intimidating to parents. It's really intimidating to people looking online. They're really not going to be that interested in reading everything. Instead, you really want to think about formatting your content using bullet points or text dividers or maybe big big titles to break up bigger bodies of text. This will help to guide parents and just seem like, okay, I can take this in. It's all segmented. It's all, this is what's relevant to me right now. So breaking up your text. Also using imagery and videos in your program information. You don't want them to just click on, oh, primary, and then it's just a big body of text that says, oh, the primary program is aimed ages 3 to 6, blah, blah, blah. And that just expands. It's too much. And honestly, it's better if it's coming from you during a tour than if they're just reading it online and they don't really fully understand it quite yet. So just make sure you cover the basics and you list what's really important for parents to grasp in that first glance. And yes, and really Montessori, our classrooms, our environments, our work is so beautiful. You really should utilize that imagery in your website as well. It's also great to use lead generators if you want to throughout your website, and you can use them in your program information as well on your pages. You can offer visitors packets and information on each of your pages. Basically, how this will look like is basically a pop-up that comes up on their page that says, oh, are you interested in seeing if Montessori is a right fit for you? Take our quiz. And I'll talk a little bit more about lead generators later on in one of the other slides, but just keep that in mind that lead generators, if they're well executed, could be a great way to content market it. And also you want to make sure that it is smartphone friendly. So whenever you're building your website and you're organizing your content, you not only want to make sure it looks good on a desktop or laptop, but on a phone, because you'll be surprised how many parents are doing this on the go, just looking through their website. I want to pause and see if there's any questions on this particular slide. Feel free to drop any in the chat. Take a brief pause. If not, I'll continue going and we can answer questions in that end. All right, before we move to the next slide, I just want to show on our Nido site a little bit about how we organized our program information. So these are actually built by Nido Marketing, these sample websites. And here you can see the just an example of a primary program information site. So you see the beautiful imagery in the background. You have a little synopsis of what the program is really all about. Right here off the top, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is what parents need to know, is immediate information. So for those lazy parents who are comparing, 10 different schools in their area, this is perfect. Then here's how we broke up the text, and you can see it's all really effective. It talks about everything that you need to get across on the first kind of look at the first glance. And remember, all of these can really be expanded in the school tour or on a phone call or on a Zoom call, whatever it is that you do during the admissions process. But it's really digestible. We have it all under a programs tab here where you can see infant, toddler, primary, elementary, middle school. So I just wanted to point that out, just kind of give an example here.
Camilla, I just also wanted to suggest that if you wanted to provide more information about, like, say for primary, maybe the areas of the classroom or something like that, then your point of a lead generator is really great, but that could be a nicely formatted PDF that you could put right on that primary page. So if you think about somebody looking at this on a phone, it's like they kind of get the high points, in a easily digestible, format, but then, have a little form. It can just be first name and email that can kind of come up, or just, it doesn't even have to be a pop-up. It could be just be like at the bottom of the page, submit your information here and we'll email you more complete information about our primary program. So it's the kind of thing that I know I would rather sort of print out and read if it's going to be, 3 or 4 pages of content, rather than that much content shouldn't be on a website page. So anyway, just an idea for a lead generator too, is to just put the highlights, on the program page. And then if you want to follow up with more detail, but also to Camilla's point, having you in person explain it is going to be the best. So the idea is to give people a lot of options, but to kind of all lead toward giving you a call and scheduling that tour. So that's it.
Exactly. Yeah, and those, and like as to Camille's point, it's a offering that PDF. It's a great opportunity for you to maybe kind of break down the curriculum, talk a little bit more about the planes of development, things like that, for parents who are really that interested. So yeah, just really edit down the content you have on your website and think about just, you want to avoid intimidating parents on the first glance. All right, so next in content marketing here is parenting resources. This is really huge in the Montessori space because Montessori is really unique. It's not the traditional learning model. So parent education is key, and also offering parent resources can really help draw an audience. And it also shows that you offer guidance to not only children at your school, but parents and families. Parenting is hard, so it's really important to show parents that you're supporting them throughout their journey into parenthood. It also creates trust and creates value and establishes trust. This is really key, especially when you're trying to draw in an audience and nurture them into leads. You really want to appear to be a thought leader. This is a term we use in marketing, thought leadership. When you think of a certain brand that does something really well, they're the experts in that brand. They're the experts in that area. So you want to be an expert in the Montessori space to your leads. And the way to do that is to offer really good resources and content that's valuable and that builds trust. A few resources that you can have, blogs, we'll expand on that in a few slides as well. Podcasts, they can be a huge help if you have that on your website. They're really easy and cheap to produce. We actually have a whole set of resources on producing a podcast in Montessori Thrive in our collection. I think pretty much all you need is a microphone. There's like $20 ones on Amazon. It's a one-time purchase, and you can pretty much record sound notes and post them on your website. And you can talk about different things like school drop-off or what it's like to transition from Montessori to public school. And things like that really helps parents have resources to reference and also to recommend to their friends and to kind of spread the word. Videos are great content, whether you use YouTube, Instagram, or just post videos on your website. All of it is great. I took a little screenshot here because we work with Parenting to the Max. We have some great videos available that a lot of schools, a lot of Nido Marketing member schools use on their websites. Donna here, she is great. She's really experienced in talking to parents and teaching them about Montessori and parenting. So if you do work with Nido Marketing, I believe you have access to these if you want to put them on your website as video content, or you can produce your own as well. Obviously, that takes a bit of time and effort, but if you do it once, you don't have to update those videos for several years, because the Montessori curriculum has not really changed, and the philosophy hasn't either. So really, if you get a good video and you can use that for years and years, and it kind of will end up paying for itself. Offer also great quizzes and guides to parents, as we mentioned, in maybe a lead generator format. People love taking quizzes. I think this might have been an effect of BuzzFeed being around for a while, and how people just love taking quizzes and seeing if they're the right fit for something. We have a few quizzes of this nature available in Montessori Thrive as well. If you want for your website, you can create a parent resource page, or it might just be a blog that you maybe have podcasts and videos included under that tab as well. But you can always opt to do something like that. It'll definitely help to set you above the rest. Also, if you host parenting classes, whether it's, your guides offer maybe annual parenting guidance to your parents at your school, advertise it on your website. And what I mean by advertise it on your website is make sure that parents who are visiting know that you offer free parenting courses for parents at your school. They should know that they're getting that added value when they choose to enroll. They're getting that added support. Let parents know what they're really getting themselves into, and they're getting themselves into a place of support and community, and they're going to be able to ask questions and have guidance. So yes, I just really want to kind of go on the Nido site here, because this is kind of how it's kind of a sample page if you choose to, if you have a Nido Marketing website of what you can choose, what you can use. We have loads of Donna's videos. They're all great. They're really great parent education resources. All right.
Yeah, I also just wanted to point out too, a parent resource page is great, and it doesn't necessarily have to be resources that you've created. If you can just kind of curate a list of videos or books or papers, whatever, links, helpful links, that can be really helpful. And so it's just really a matter of that curation part of providing content. So it's still, you become sort of the source of the source, but it still can be really valuable, and it doesn't really require you, if you're someone who's like, oh gosh, I don't have time to sit down and write all of this or make a series of videos or do a podcast or whatever. Find some great parenting podcasts and list them on your website that are, kind of in line with what, Montessori is, and just kind of go about it that way, I think is also really valuable.
That's a great point. I think there's so much Montessori content out there nowadays that's really valuable, that people have taken so much time to create. You can definitely just have a kind of a library of sorts on your website for parents to click around and explore. And if it's coming from you and it ends up being really valuable, you're going to get to take some of that credit that you led them to discover that information, even if you didn't create it. So it can be really helpful. Are there any questions on parent content, parent education content on websites? Has anyone really done something with this particular area of content marketing that has been helpful to their school? I'll be interested to know. You can drop it in the chat or just stop me at any point. All right, blogging. This is a huge part of content marketing. Probably, I mean, if you read any blog or article on content marketing, there's gonna be something about having a blog, and that's just because it's so powerful to have a blog for so many different reasons. It's a great way to create good content. Also a great way to keep your website updated, which is great for SEO purposes. Algorithms really like it when you update regularly on your website. You add pictures and text and relevant information regularly. And it also helps you to become a thought leader again. This is really important in marketing, because if parents are getting valuable information from you, you then become above the rest, above all the other schools and that they're searching through in your area. It really does set you apart. Some things I really want to, some key points I want to make about blogging. Number one is you really want to update your blog regularly, and you can really decide a schedule that works for you. If you have the capacity to update your blog weekly, then you can. Maybe bi-weekly is easier for you, or maybe monthly. But what you want to avoid with blogs is, if you feel that you don't have the capacity to release a blog at least, once a month, don't create a blog at all, because it looks worse to have a blog, that was last updated 3 months ago, a blog section that, it just doesn't look good. So either have one that you will commit to updating on a regular basis, or avoid having one until you kind of maybe find some time to build up some to schedule out later. But you don't want to have an abandoned blog. That never looks good. Again, just like the program information, you want to avoid too much text. I think really nowadays, the only way that people are going to read that much text is if they want to pick up a book and read it on their own leisure time. They don't want to see it online. They don't want to see it just anywhere other than, their pleasure reading novel or whatever that they're doing on their spare time. You want to use bullet points, utilize titles, utilize breaking up your page, utilize formatting. Luckily, a lot of website builders make this easy, whether you use WordPress, Squarespace, whatever kind of space that you use to build out your website. It's quite easy to create visually beautiful blogs. You definitely want to be utilizing those tools. Utilize images and videos if you can as well. This also is so great for SEO. SEO algorithms love pictures and they love videos. Make sure the pictures that you use are either yours, like your school took them and owns them, or you have the rights to use them. There are several websites where you can download, you can access free imagery. One of them is pexels.com. I'll drop these in the chat later. Pexels is a great one, but you just want to make sure that you're not using a copyrighted image that you don't have the rights to use, or you can get fined. You just want to avoid that. So I recommend, getting hiring a good photographer, or just getting good pictures of your school that you can freely use. Camille put pexels. Also, if you're, I think if you're a Nido Marketing, if you're a certain level of Nido Marketing client, I think you have access to our content library of Montessori images, or if you are a school that has the capacity to hire a photographer and do that on your own, you can also do that. It's okay to recycle blog content. This is what's great about blogging is if you create a really great blog, you can reuse it 2 years later, 3 years later, whenever parents are they forget. You might want to tweak a few things, change some images, and you can republish it. It might be relevant again. You're certainly allowed to recycle that content. So you don't have to always be on top of writing new blogs all the time. It can be really stressful. So just keep that in mind. If you need blog ideas, we have a few pre-written blogs on Thrive. We also have a forum where you can ask for inspiration, ideas. And also, if you're a Nido Marketing client that subscribes to our content package, we actually write blogs for schools to use. So it just depends. I believe they're weekly blogs. So if you just don't have the capacity at all and you really want to have the blogging element on your website, if anyone has any good experiences with blogs or any questions, comments, or concerns when it comes to blog, please drop them in the chat. I'll pause. I also want to tour through our Nido site just so you can see how we built out a blog section. So here you can see you have relevant images here, very Montessori appropriate. You can click on the blog here, and I just want to kind of scroll through, see how it's broken up. There's no giant one strip of text, and it's not that long. It's not that long. You can read this in a few quick minutes. Really, anything longer than that is not going to be very digestible or approachable. All right. Moving on here. Instagram. This is a reality of content marketing nowadays. Instagram is kind of a bigger part in your content marketing strategy. It's a great platform to utilize for your school. It's an additional place for parents to find you. And guess what? They are nowadays. There's so many people that have Instagram accounts, and it's free to have as well. Some things I want to mention about Instagram though is you really kind of want to keep it brand focused. So while it can be a great place to share imagery, you really want to keep it appropriate and think about I'm going to use the word aesthetic. You're curating. Part of content marketing is curating. You want your content to be beautiful, to be relevant. Think about it as setting up your Montessori classroom. That's how the kind of mindset you want to be in when you're posting on Instagram. How does everything look together? Does everything look on brand? Is everything relevant to my school, to Montessori, to my services? Make sure you're using good photos. If you're using graphics, make sure to use clean and brand appropriate graphics. I put Canva in parentheses because it's a great and free tool. I believe there's a special offer that if you're a teacher or in a school, you can get either a discount or a free account on Canva. And if you can't afford to have a graphic designer, it's a great tool. And you want to update Instagram frequently. Instagram is one of those, you want to maybe post at least once a week. Some schools I follow, our Thrive account follows quite a few of some really incredible Montessori schools, some of which are members, and they do a really good job of keeping their Instagram fresh. I'm really surprised. Some of them post daily, which is great if you can do that. But I just want to show also just some examples later about kind of good and effective graphic content versus not so good graphic content. I'll show that in a second. If you need guidance with Instagram, we have courses. We have Instagram for Montessori schools and Instagram marketing for Montessori schools. So if you really want to kind of dive into this topic specifically, you can do it on your own time. Each video clip is maybe, 1 to 8 minutes long, so you can break it up, and it kind of breaks down how to use Instagram effectively in the Montessori space. Canva is a great tool. Like I said, I created this presentation on Canva. Canva is especially great for social media because you can actually format posts to fit in the Instagram square perfectly. You can also create Reels, which Reels is a great space to create videos and parenting resources, and even a mini virtual tour of your school could be a great thing to add to your Instagram. Canva is a great way to edit those if you don't have access to a graphic designer. So here's just my little example of effective versus non-effective kind of posts on social media, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram. So here we have kind of the less effective, less relevant images that, aren't really relevant to Montessori. They don't really have any correlation. They're almost a bit, busy. There's a lot going on. You can't really change the colors to make it appropriate to your school branding or logo because the colors are already so, there's a lot of colors and you can't really make this all fit with your school kind of aesthetic or logo. Whereas these images here, they're a little bit more Montessori focused. I've done my best to try to find the most Montessori appropriate images here and put them together. Of course, maybe this is for a school who their logo is all blue. This is the exact shade of blue. You can color match on Canva. So when they put it on their Instagram, it's going to match with all of the other pictures beautifully. Whereas maybe something like this, it'll look a little bit, it'll be kind of a miscommunication as to your school brand, your aesthetic, your ideology, everything. Here as well, we have, here's a Montessori material. The colors, again, you can match them to your school logo. You can change this depending on whatever your graphics are in your school. It's a little bit more muted. It makes a little bit more sense. If you were to cover your entire Instagram with images like this, the parent is going to be just, it's not much different from other schools. It's, very repetitive, basic. This is a little bit more appropriate to schools. And in Instagram, you have to have these things in mind. Now, for anyone interested, I did create these on Canva. It took me about 5 minutes to create each graphic. So that's how, and I used their images that you have access to if you use it. So they actually have a few usable Montessori images as well. They actually have surprisingly quite a few Montessori classroom images, materials. They have a picture of like the pink tower that you can use with and when it comes to Instagram. So you don't have to take your own pictures if you just don't have the capacity to do that. But it's a great, just wanted to show an example of good visual content for Montessori versus not. If there are any questions or comments, I'm sure that most of you don't have a lot of experience in graphic design. Maybe you do. If you do, that's incredible. But this is just a quick thing that you can do and you don't need to have a graphic design background to use Canva. Facebook, Facebook is a little bit less visually focused than Instagram. It still is a little bit. I do recommend using good graphics when appropriate and good images and pictures. But what's great about Facebook is it's a great place to share your blogs. Instagram is going to be harder to do that because you can't share links as easily on Instagram. It's really about the picture and the caption. That's Instagram. Facebook, you can share blogs. You can share event links, links to registration pages for certain events or fundraisers or whatever it is. So this is a great space to do that and share that kind of content. You want to make sure to only post worthy content. Whether it's your weekly blog, your monthly blog, any upcoming events, maybe the academic calendar, or any just fun updates of your school. Just make sure that you keep it pretty focused. You don't want to clunk everyone's feed with a bunch of irrelevant information. You can also utilize Facebook for our Facebook ads. You can advertise your programs, your blogs, or lead generators. If you want more information on Facebook ads, we also have courses for that. It's a little bit more complicated as you have to kind of track things and make sure that you're reaching the right audience, and it's a little bit more work. But when it comes to just content marketing, you just want to be focused on posting the right things on your Facebook page or group if you have one for your school. All right, before I go into lead generators, are there any questions on social media when it comes to content? Anyone have any trouble with social media? I feel like at this point, most schools have an Instagram account or a Facebook account, so you guys have experience in that space. All right. Let's dive into lead generator. So I briefly mentioned this earlier. You really should consider having lead generators on your website. And the reason why is lead generators are a great way for you to collect important contact information. This is hugely helpful to your marketing strategy. If you don't have a way to collect emails of this website visitors on your website, that's good. You're losing a lot of important leads. They're falling through the cracks. You didn't get a chance to introduce yourself. You didn't get a chance to ask them if they want a tour personally. And that can make all the difference. It can grow your enrollment. Ultimately, it can help you, meet new parents, give them a tour, which is ultimately what sells Montessori. So by adding a few good lead generators on your website, you have some great ways to collect that, to collect that information. The main thing I want to focus on when it comes to lead generators is you have to provide that value immediately. So if you have a lead generator on your website, you have to use automations. It's not good enough for a parent to give you their email address and then have to wait, an hour or 2 hours to receive what they request, what they wanted to know about. You have to have it automatically. So as soon as they press, here's my email, click confirm, it should automatically go to their inbox, whether it's, a fun quiz, the PDF packet that we mentioned earlier, or your tuition rate. You have to deliver that information immediately. So if you don't have automations integrated into your website, this is really something that you maybe want to avoid. You really want to have a well curated website. All right. How can I tell if I have good content marketing? This is, when it gets a little bit more complex. This is where marketing gets really interesting because, it has more than one way of, you have more than one way of seeing good results. So good content marketing has a mission statement behind it. It ladders up to your school's objectives and goals. So that's, you're doing a good job. Great content marketing provides value to your audience. And amazing content marketing doesn't even feel like content marketing. It feels like, you're the one sharing the wisdom. You are providing parents with valuable information. It doesn't even feel like you're trying to sell them your school. It just feels like you know what you're doing and what you're talking about, and you're becoming a source of valuable information. When you're able to do that, you've really nailed good content marketing in the Montessori space. So, what are the results? Well, there's no perfect recipe to find the perfect, result of, I'm doing it perfectly. But here are some ways that you can measure to see if your content marketing is really working effectively. So first of all, the quality of the leads that you're receiving are high. They're good quality leads. There are parents who clearly, they've read your program information. They are really interested in learning more about Montessori. They want to schedule a tour with you. They read, it's the people that are coming in are appropriate and mission appropriate. Two, you have to have some type of way possibly to collect data for this one, but really ask parents how they learned about your school. Did they find out through Google? Maybe that means, Google Ads might have had a big part in it. Did they learn about you through Instagram, through word of mouth? Maybe a parent recommended one of your blogs. Did they just read one of your blogs and then said, oh my gosh, wow, I really, I want to learn more about this school in Montessori and I want to tour with them. So it's important to have this information and to see also what kind of lead generators they download. I think finding ways to track that information. And lastly, see if your content has good engagement. When you post pictures on Facebook, does it get likes? Does it get shares? Are people sharing your blogs, your podcasts? Are people responding well to your images? Are they being engaged with in any way? This is a good way to track if your content is good, relevant, and valuable. I would love to hear if you've tried any form of content marketing at your school, whether it's, you really focused on your program information, you really have a great blog, you're working on an Instagram or Facebook, you have parent education resources. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now. And I would just love to hear if any of you have had any experience in the content marketing space in Montessori. Or if you have any questions as well, because we have quite a few resources on Thrive. If you're a Thrive member, I'm also going to share here the link to our lead generators. We have so many lead generators that you can use if you choose to. This is a Thrive link, by the way, so because I talked a bit about them, but we have some great ones. Does everyone here have a blog on their school website? Yes, no?
I can share. Oh, go ahead, Laura.
We have one.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't think we're doing a great job at it, but I think we have one, and I think we have gotten some marketing and the content information from you guys, so that has been helpful.
That's great. How often do you maybe post a blog, Wally, just to have an idea?
Well, the person who's supposed to do that is supposed to do that maybe at least once a month, based on what discussion we have had in the past. But I mean, as you were talking, I was going to check back and to see how often she's doing it, whether or not she's been keeping up with it or not. But I totally agree that I think you'd rather not have a blog if you're not able to update it frequently. I mean, the best is a week, and the least you should do is about a month, right?
Yeah. Well, we have we don't have a great amount of blogs on Thrive, but we have a few that you can use if maybe that person is having a little bit of trouble, they're busy with other things. You can always use some of the templates we have on Thrive.
Yeah, we have actually.
Okay, great. I see Kay raising the hand there. not sure if you have any questions.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. No, the answer has been, I got the answer from the gentleman earlier on, so, and you answered my question as well, so I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
I was just going to share an experience I had. This was before I was here at Nido Marketing. And we were a client of Nido Marketing, and we requested a topic for the blogs, which you guys are always welcome to do if you are one of our content subscribers. And the topic, what we wanted was Montessori math through the levels. So just some kind of tracing a material or something through, from primary through adolescent. And so we got that blog, and it sort of added some photos to it to make it our own, published that. And, even today, that is one of the most visited pages on our website. And it actually became, I don't know if you are familiar with what a Google snippet is, but that is, if you search on something, if you searched on Montessori math, our blog came up as sort of the definitive answer as to what Montessori math was. So that is the power of content marketing right there. And that was, if you have a blog and if you, Google really likes a few photos in there, and, just make it, there's no cutting corners when it comes to content either. I mean, you really do have to provide valuable content, and but it will really help with your SEO. And so when people are searching for information, so when you think about blogs in particular, coming up with a great title is also really important. These catchy, 5 best reasons to enroll your child in a Montessori school, or, how to, whatever, these type of titles. And you can just search on what is a great sort of formula for a blog title too. But anyway, I just wanted to share that because I think now, I mean, I haven't searched in a while, and I don't think we're still a snippet, but
I just searched here, and you guys were the second thing to come up. It's the first one just says mathematics. And then the second is Hollis Montessori basics, how math progresses through the levels.
and you're in England.
And I'm in the UK.
Yeah.
And it came up, yeah.
So it's just, and then it kind of feeds on itself. Once it becomes, a lot of clicks on it, then Google knows, a lot of people like this, and then it just feeds on itself. But
also anyway, my thought is, okay, when I, if I Google Montessori math and you guys are the second thing to come up on Google, all of a sudden I think, wow, this school is doing that really well. That's my initial thought, because they're the second thing to come up on Google. And that's where the thought leadership plays into it.
Exactly. Yeah. I see Kay has her hand up again, or did she just not put it down?
I've not put it down. Let me put it down.
Okay.
No worries.
New to this.
Does anybody else have anything to share, or questions, or anything?
Has anyone experienced or uses Canva for their school, whether it's creating newsletters, for helping, I think they have even email templates.
So I use Canva for my school. It's a multi-school Montessori thing. And I do have a question. In order to have a successful Facebook or a successful Instagram account or Google business profile, how many times do I have to continue to post on a regular basis? You said in Instagram, like almost every day. And is that how I get to new families to come and search? Is like, how often do you do it?
that's a really, it's really a magical question for anyone who works with social media. Ultimately, like, the content on social media moves so quickly. What someone posted yesterday is already like last week's news. It just, at the rate that people are producing content on those platforms, especially Instagram, if you can, a few times a week. If you're super busy, one time a week is okay. Facebook, you can maybe manage it a little bit more, because on Facebook, you're maybe reposting blogs or important school news or updates. So you don't want to clutter that feed as much. So I would say for Instagram, focus on, I would say it's great if your school can do 3 posts a week. If not, 1 is okay. Facebook, only posts. Don't even worry about the number of posts. Think about the quality of the post, because nothing is more annoying than seeing someone who posts on Facebook just this really irrelevant stuff that clutters your feed. People go on Facebook to read stuff that's important or valuable to them, and if it's just not, it doesn't captivate them, they're just going to skip through it. Also, a great way to make sure the right families see you is by using the right hashtags. There's a lot of debate on how many hashtags are good or what kind of hashtags you should be using. Ultimately, you kind of have to do your own research as to which hashtags are working in your area. The perfect number of hashtags, though, and this came from an article Instagram released not too long ago, is 3 to 5 hashtags per post. Anything more than that is just, it's not going to really help you. You always want to do hashtag Montessori no matter what. I think that's always like the staple hashtag that you want to use to make sure you're attracting the right audience. You want to create a hashtag for your school, whether that's, just your school name, hashtag, Nido Montessori, whatever that may be. And maybe you can hashtag the program, the material that's being used in the picture, the events. Those are kind of some good hashtag ideas. But ultimately, that's a really big way of how parents are finding. And you can also hashtag your city. So if you're in Houston, put hashtag Houston. That'll help you. You can also put location. You don't have to put your school's location, but you can put the city, Houston or Seattle, whenever you're posting those images, because that will help you reach a more local audience. Also, I just want to reiterate that on Instagram, it is so important to create visually appealing content that is concise and brand appropriate. I see a lot of schools who do this really well, and they have beautiful images of their classrooms, of their materials. Obviously, there's some parents who will not allow their children to be on the Instagram page. That's fine. You can still create content just by photographing the work that they do, the classroom space. But just make sure you're posting good quality pictures, because nothing looks like dodgier than going on a school's Instagram page and their pictures are blurry, and then they just put some random sticker and they're like just putting colors and graphics that just don't match with the brand. It looks kind of like a mismatched scrapbook. You want to make it look really like a concise feed, if that makes sense.
Totally agree. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for asking your question, Mara. I hope that helps. I also want to point out that, I know most of you guys are already members, but we have our Facebook group where you can always ask questions about this kind of stuff. We love answering marketing questions about, growing enrollment, digital marketing, content marketing, Google ads, Facebook ads for Montessori schools. That's really our bread and butter. So if you have any questions on that at any point, just drop them in our Facebook group or in our forum as well.
Yeah, and I have to put a plug in for Nido Marketing here, in that we do have content that we, you can subscribe to, and we have a Montessori teacher on staff who is our writer. So if you were to subscribe to our content, it's a blog article per week. It's an Instagram or a social post that corresponds to that blog article, so that when you publish that blog, then you can post it on social media and drive people to your website to read that blog article. It also includes an email about that blog. So again, it's kind of getting into the email marketing, but it's a couple paragraphs about the blog. So then the idea is, you email your list, which is your list is golden because it doesn't cost anything to email your email list, and then you drive them back to your website to read that blog. And then in addition to all that, we offer daily Facebook posts, which is a curated list. It's all, links to quality content. But again, it keeps your name in their Facebook feed. And then also the videos that Camilla showed earlier, and our photo library. So all of that is, which you can all, you can use as your own. We provide that in our content subscription. So just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to show you what we have.
I put the link there for more information on the content. It was so funny. It was somebody in the Facebook group said that one of the blogs that the Nido Marketing content writer did for their website, did for the content package, actually their local newspaper or newsletter reached out to them to see if they could republish the blog. That's just, how good it is. The content writer that Nido Marketing has is really good at creating valuable content. I think that's so important, as well as Camille mentioned this earlier. You really can't be creating mediocre content. There's so many competing Montessori blogs and other Montessori schools, and you really want to, especially in your area, you want to be doing it the best if you can. And it kind of is a full-time it is a full-time job. So if you don't have the time to create good content, there's always options to outsource, because creating a good blog can take can take half a day, and that, that half a day for you might be a lot of time that you need to be doing other things, attending to your staff, your families, your students, giving school tours. Those things are a little bit more impactful, but you need that content to be doing the back end work and bringing you the leads and bringing you those parents. So it's important to have that. I'd love to hear any other questions on content marketing or marketing in general, if you have any. Also, I want to do a little, I want to do a little kind of recruiting. We're really looking for town hall speakers and topics as well. We have a few topics lined up. I have some exciting news as well. We finally, we confirmed somebody to come and talk about staffing. I know this is a really kind of pressing topic in the Montessori space. She's a school consultant who has some incredible new strategies for staffing in the Montessori space. She'll be joining us on March 3rd. So mark your calendars if that's a topic that you're interested in. But yes, we're really looking for, Montessori leaders who are willing to share their expertise with other members in our town halls. Some topics that we're really looking to cover is retention during a pandemic. This is an ongoing topic, but really how to keep those families on board, how to keep them happy, even when restrictions make that difficult. We're also looking for speakers on more team building and team leadership within your school, within your staff. So if you know of anyone who's a real expert in that area, or you yourself want to come and talk and present at one of our town halls, please contact me. I'm going to drop my email here. Or if you know of a consultant that your school has worked with that's really great in that area, please, let me know and I will contact them, because I would love to have some good speakers to share their expertise here. Any other news? Oh, also our parenting session from yesterday evening is up on Thrive. So if your parents missed the parenting session, they can access the recording. We were joined by Tim Selden and Lorna McGrath. They just wrote a book, Montessori for Every Family, a practical parenting guide. It's a great book. They talked really broadly about Montessori parenting. What are the core principles? It's a great recording for your parents. Talking about content, it's a great piece of content for parents who want to learn more about Montessori and how they can bring those into the home. So you can share that recording with your families. And then next week, our parenting session will be focused on parenting through a pandemic, what your children really need to hear and how you can support them during times of uncertainty. We have a great speaker and Montessori author, Charlotte Cushman, who's going to come and talk about that. So if you'd like to invite your parents to that, our event page is here. I'm going to share the event page just for any of you guys who are interested in looking at it or just possibly inviting your families to it. All right, if there's no more questions, I don't want to keep us on too long. So, all right, thank you so much for joining us for this hour of Montessori marketing. We hope to see you back next week, and we hope everyone has a great rest of your Thursday.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.